Bed. Love.
Bed.
Bed.
Love. Beyond.
Bed, love, beyond. Bed, love, beyond.
Welcome to Bed Love Beyond, the podcast for the hopeful and the hater in us to discuss sex, love, relationships, and whatever's clever with like-minded people like you who are also in limbo with love like us. I'm Miss April.
I'm Jen.
And today we are on episode 130. It's all about the Benjamins, baby, or is it?
Oh.
Money and relationships.
Money.
But first, daily dish.
What is the daily dish? I went to the doctor again. The nurse was like, yeah, if we try to take your ovary or your eggs, whatever eggs she thinks I have, she's like, we might get 5. She's like, but you might die. And then, like, she said, like, oh, she'd have to run it by the board or something if I wanted to do it. That bitch hasn't called me back this week. How long does it take for a blood test? Matter of fact. Anyway, so she was like, oh, we might have to run it by the board. And this is the part that bothered me. She's like, the board will probably say, yes, we do a lot of things we're not supposed to do. What? I'm like, yo. I'm going on, like, adoption agency pages, requesting information.
Yeah.
And then she's like, we can't find your right ovary, so we can find your left one, so we can stick a needle through your stomach to get it. No, you're not.
Right.
No, you're not.
I was like, where can I get a 5-year-old?
Right. Like, do they have a 5-year-old anywhere?
Yeah.
Possibly potty trained? I mean, like, come on. No, thank you.
I gotta say, hearing all that, I'd be like, nah, I'm good
No.
with life. I'll go some other route, cause
Then I've been, like, really mean to the boyfriend just because I'm just like, because he's like, I don't know about adoption. I was like, then you can go home to your mom's house
right.
and play with those kids and go sit there by yourself until you want to figure life out, because
Yeah.
I have a plan and either you're going to be with it or not. And then he's like, well, if you just adopt a kid, won't it be mine too? I was like, no, not necessarily.
No.
It's like,
Adoption is both.
Right.
Go both ways. Yeah.
he's like, you're going to do it without me? I'm like, oh, God. I should have brought it up before I called him, and his mom was in the car. I was like, I should have said something. But, like, Mom, get in his ass.
Well, you have to do it without the person if they don't want to do it, not sure, slowly deciding sort of deal.
Right. In Married at First Sight news, Mia and Tristan have gotten divorced already, even though they have not made a final decision
On the show.
I think they probably stayed together, but now they're divorced.
I saw a comment that said that she broke the contract, non-disclosure, whatever, that you're not supposed to discuss or file before the last show.
Yeah, you weren't supposed to have a fucking
you're
record
pretty
either.
much telling the
Right. The end.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess in the show, like, I don't know, some people, if they're having, like, a vote party, you can probably vote whether they stayed together or not. They probably did.
Right, but then you want to feel like, they want people to feel like, oh, they stayed together, and then update,
Right.
divorced. But they want to give you the update. They don't want you to have the update before the last show even aired.
As you probably know, because it leaked on social media, they've been divorced.
Mm-hmm.
Mad other people are having a baby. The guy John from last year, the one who dated that, like, horrible blonde girl, he's actually dating one of the doctors from the show now.
Wow.
Yeah. They were kind of like, yeah, we're dating. Fuck you.
She match made herself.
She was like, bitch, you don't want him. I think he's a great guy.
Right.
I mean,
he beat my qualifications.
she was like, you can sit there, because he was, like, really, really good looking, like, not, like, super fucking hot, but, like, I mean, his hair was thinning, but whatever, but, like, he had a really nice body, he seemed to have a super nice personality, he seemed to act like a little childish sometimes, but he wasn't even, like, I don't think he was even 30 yet, like, give him a fucking break. Men don't, like, ripen until they're 30, something.
And when you look at it in general, that's pretty much all men.
Right.
The childish.
This girl was
percentage is
probably
up
just
there.
hung up on her ex-boyfriend or something, but I don't know. Married at First Sight, a shit show.
But I think if I was a producer and she files, first of all, you already came up with some stuff with this whole getting arrested for allegedly stalking your boyfriend stuff. And then you come and go file for a divorce before our last show. Like, I'm ready to sue you. Like,
Right.
whatever we paid you or whatever they do, a lot of these shows claim they don't pay people. I don't believe that. But whatever you got, I want it back.
This season they did. They gave them, remember I told you that I think they gave them like $4,000 or $5,000 like towards living expenses.
Right. Well, they call it towards living, not payment for being
Right.
You know, like some shows like to say we're not paying these people.
Right, but how did the fuck do they need living expenses? They went to go live at Tristan's apartment. He's already paying for it. He's a business owner. You good, Tristan?
Maybe they getting unpaid leave from work.
And of
or
course,
if you self-employed, you're not getting paid all the hours you filming.
Martini weighed in on it. He was very upset with the girl. He's like, she's a trifling lying bitch. I'm like, oh god, here you go.
Projecting.
Now Tristan all of a sudden is the victim. I was like, well, Tristan's kind of a dick too because they just married and then like they were kind of just like, he's like, oh, we're moving to Dallas. You're good with that, right? Like that's 4 hours from Houston. Like
everything about him is wrong to me. Just looking at him, I just don't see nothing remotely. It's not even the way he looks. I mean, even though it's part of it, but just his personality.
He's like a 5-year-old. I don't know.
I would be. I don't know. He seemed. I mean, he doesn't seem like a horrible person. I just personally don't see any
redeeming qualities.
Like nothing says to me, oh, like I date him. I don't see it at all. Like he just seems he seems a little obnoxious. I guess.
Yeah, I got that from him too. Oh my god, my crazy neighbor just texted me. Oh, I hope she doesn't listen to this. She said to me the other day, she's like, "There might be a dark-skinned brother across the street. Don't be alarmed." I was like, "Can you say that?" I was like,
"You're crazy in a good way."
I'm like, I'm so concerned about this. I was like, oh man, this is weird. I was like, brothers usually don't alarm me. Light skin, dark skin, or otherwise.
Usually living with one in some form of fashion.
I was like, who told you to say that?
Oh my god.
It was so weird. It was like one of those like cultural things. I was like, I don't know that you could say that, but all right, whatever, I'll roll with it.
I read Trevor Noah's book last week.
Oh, you said you really liked it.
Yeah, it was really good. And he talks about, apartheid was all built on race and color and all that other stuff. If you're white, if you're black, if you both, all these categories you had to legally claim. And then he talks about how, like, Chinese people were under the black category and Japanese people were under white.
Damn.
So, but he was like, I mean, he's kind of said it in a nice way, but he was like, I always imagine what a cop would do if he walked up on an Asian person sit on a bench and didn't know what they were. Like, and he kind of made this joke like, hey, that's the white only bitch, get off. Bench, get off. I'm like, oh, I'm Japanese. Oh, never mind, sir, have a good day. Like, because that's basically like, not to offend anybody, but you can't always tell the difference.
Apart, yeah.
Maybe if you're from that culture, you can.
I think you can, because some people are like, oh, that guy's Korean. I'm like, how'd you know? Like,
right.
Or
like sometimes I don't. It sounds so horrible, but I feel like Korean people's eyes is different shape.
Yeah.
Like their eyes are a little more almond shaped. It's not as slanted.
And I feel like Japanese people's eyes are smaller.
Yeah, they have a different accent too.
Yeah.
Japanese accent is different from. You could tell.
Well, Dominicans have a different accent from like Puerto Ricans and other Spaniards.
Just talk like 80 miles an hour.
Sorry, Dominicans.
But
I just can't follow.
Everybody getting discriminated today.
I know.
But like the name, if somebody's name is a certain thing, I mean, like I think that's Korean, or like you could very much tell Japanese names, Moto and Kashimoto. And
yeah,
like, it's different. You could tell, but like if your last name Lee, you're Chinese. I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, Han, I think is Han. I think is
Chinese name.
Yeah, it might be Chinese or Korean. I'm not sure if it's Korean.
Surnames you could tell, and but besides that, just like. I mean, this is South African cops looking at these people.
Right.
Like, you don't know what the fuck you're looking at. So, and he talks about how the construct of race is just pretty much ridiculous. So, I saw that today at work. This lady works in this other program. Lady's white. The woman at the front desk has to check your ID, check you in, make sure you have an appointment, whatever. She goes behind the desk, involves herself in the front desk person's job with the checking of IDs, looks at the ID, looks at the lady, and was like, that's not her. The lady in the picture is Spanish. This woman's Indian.
What?
And so then they come back to my desk involving me in the shit. I don't got nothing to do with it. So she goes, just want to let you know, this lady is outside, and that is not her in the picture. And I was like...
So.
And I was was like, I've registered this lady before with this ID. So I was like, I guess this is my last day because I participated in the identity fraud last month.
Been real.
Right. So she was like, oh, she has 3 moles on her face and ain't no moles in this license picture. I was like, actually, I do kind of see a mole right there, but
and moles come over time.
I was like,
and you only have to get your license every so many years.
And she was just so adamant that this wasn't. And I'm like, what is going on? And she was like, she has a mole right here, a mole right here, and she points to her forehead, points to her nose, points to like her chin. I was like, and none of that's in the picture. And I'm just like, oh Lord. So I'm like, all right, just. And I'm like, so I go back in her file. I see this lady's used this ID since 2017, same driver's license. I'm like, oh Lord. So
you're like, everyone who touches files getting fired today.
Exactly what I thought. I'm like, we all going down if this ain't this lady. But I'm like, I know this lady, and I recognize the face from the driver's license. I'm like, this lady do look like her ID. But I'm like, I don't know. So I'm like, all right, just send her back. So the lady, so I'm still holding on to the Spanish Indian thing. Right. Because that's just where my mind goes. The lady has an Indian print style replica scarf,
right,
draped around her shoulder the way Indian women wear it.
Oh my God!
This woman, Puerto Rican, Ecuador. I don't think she's Puerto Rican. I want to say she was Ecuadorian or something, Peruvian as all hell.
Right.
And I'm just sitting there like, you only said that lady was Indian because of the scarf she got on. You don't know what the fuck she is. And the lady and Peruvian people do tend to have Asian slanted eyes and kind of a round face. They do kind of have. She did kind of have a Filipino-ish Hawaiian kind of look going on, but that was clearly her in the picture, and her name was clearly Hispanic. And the only thing you thought were remotely Indian about her was the scarf.
Racial profiling.
I was like, what the hell? I was like, did she really just say that lady Indian because of that scarf? I'm like, you know what? This just show you how stupid race is.
I looked at my 23andMe results again, and somewhere it said, I don't know how it changed, but somewhere it said I was like Eastern Asian, and my boyfriend's like, you do have Indian eyes. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Mm-hmm. Thanks, I think. I don't know. It was really awkward. I was like, all right, good to know.
But he gives so many examples of just how made up it really all.
And what's the title of that one? Because he has 2 books, right? Or no?
Well, this one is his autobiography.
Oh, okay.
Born a Crime. Yeah. So it was.
Which you're making a movie, right?
Yes, Lupita.
Oh,
Lupita's
nice.
playing the mother, which she just sounds like she looks like a younger version of how he makes his mother sound in the book. You can picture Lupita playing the mother. Absolutely.
Nice.
So that'll be I mean, it was really like you could tell how if you watch the Daily Show, you could tell how his mind is and how he grew up and how he describes himself. You can kind of see the result.
I think he'd be cool to hang out with. He'd be a good friend.
Yeah. He does, and he just. It's a book everybody needs to read, especially in this climate, because it really does like make you. If it doesn't make you feel like something about race isn't right or racism, then you just missed the whole point.
You missed it.
And granted, that's not what his whole book is about, but he did kind of like he was born during apartheid, and a lot of his life was being discriminated against or grouped by color. That was like the whole. South Africa was just really based on that.
He said that like his mom had to like pretend. Wait, it was something like his mom. I don't know, because his dad had to pretend his mom was like the maid or something of that nature. Like am I getting that right?
With him to the park,
right?
She had to pretend that she was watching him, or there was like because he was considered colored,
right?
And his mom is considered black. His father is considered white. The father's Swiss. So. Them having a child is a crime. That's why he calls it born a crime. It's an automatic 5 years in jail.
Are they still together or not? I don't remember.
No, they broke up when he was a kid. But they were considered.
That's got to be really difficult on a relationship. Period. Like,
and they were, and I think it was kind of like a friendship. And she was like, "I want a kid. Like, I want to like."
He was like, "Okay."
Yeah, and she was like, at first he didn't. At first he was like against it, then he agreed. But she kind of was like, "I want to just defy." His mother was like just a generally defiant person. And
I
she's like,
like
I
her.
just want to defy all this nonsense, all this way of life, how they make us live.
Mm.
Like, I want a child to show people that it doesn't matter. Like, this is stupid. So she had him on purpose. But, like, yeah, she would have to basically pretend that it wasn't her child because they would
Mm.
take him and put him in an orphanage that was basically other mixed or light skinned children.
Wow.
They would take him from her and literally put him in an orphanage because he was light skinned.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Take him from like a loving mother, a loving home, and like basically making the country pay for you when they didn't need to, just to
Mm.
keep you separated by color.
Crazy,
So
crazy, crazy.
that was really good.
If you're listening to this now, April and I are probably currently at a sex expo, and now being Saturday. And I don't know. I was thinking maybe we should go on Facebook Live, or at least Facebook's not Facebook Live, Instagram stories, like some of the pictures of the stuff we
Okay.
see.
Yeah.
We could
Good
probably post
idea.
some stuff
Good idea.
so you guys can see what we're seeing. I don't know. Maybe we'll make some connections over there, or just get free stuff. Who knows? Either way, it should be fun.
Possibly set up an interview with a porn star
April's planning her outfit for this.
or a streetwalker. I'll take either one.
You'll find one of those somewhere in Brooklyn, possibly Red Hook. Be like, I know you weren't at the expo, but do you want to be on our thing?
We'll still interview you. You got FaceTime?
Oh man! So what? Anything else going on with you, April? Besides your new book reading? Did you start Sally Field's book?
Not yet. Probably this weekend because I
Oh.
started Brene Brown's Daring Greatly, which is also very awesome. So when I finish that, Sally Field's next. Is it called Daring Greatly? It is. It is. Yes. It's very awesome. I suggest people read that also. She does
And-
a lot of research, and she's telling you basically she does a lot of research on vulnerability and shame, and it's really awesome how
That's what's up.
she doesn't talk. She doesn't put it in researchery language. She's just talking. It's written in like she's just talking. She's not all PhD
PhD.
ish. She's talking like a regular person.
And we're trying to get a guest for next week, who's going to talk about how to attract the right man into your life. See if we did a good job. And if not, we'll know better for next time.
That's funny.
So today we are talking about money. And that's always, they say that money is like one of the biggest, what is it? Causes of breakup or causes of fights or causes of stress in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I was like reading a few different articles, and it said that you should absolutely be upfront about what you make and what kind of bills you have and stuff like that, like from the door. This article here said that 7 out of 10 couples report that money causes tension in their relationships. That's why many couples avoid the topic in the early stages of their relationship. But they're saying that even people on Senior People Meet should have that discussion. How much do you get from the government?
Yeah, especially too if you're getting like disability or pension or something like that, and getting married may possibly alter your benefits in any way.
There's
to make sure you know how it's gonna do that.
They're saying that when you have like an issue, that one, make sure it's really about money. They said sometimes issues don't have to do with money. It's more about issues of control or security or self-esteem. Sometimes people are like, well, you make more than me. Like I think in my last relationship, I think when I was unemployed, things were like calmer. But when I I then had a job and I was making a significant, I don't know about a significant, but I was making a decent amount more than my ex was. And then I was like, okay, now that I know that I'm stable, these are the life goals that I have still, and I want to accomplish them now. And then that kind of became problematic. And then, the conversation of, if we weren't able to make ends meet, like, how much more effort would you put in? Or, I know I would get a second job, but, like, would you if you had to? And it was kind of like, nah. We just downgrade. I'm like, I don't know if it's going to work.
Right. Because then you would have to figure out, sometimes downgrading might cost you more than staying where you are.
Right.
I mean, it depends, but.
Like, I'm not going to go to a studio and then be on top of each other about this. And they said also, like, to ask yourself how your parents dealt with money and how, like, it was growing up. I don't know. For me, my mom, like, tells me the story about how, like, my dad had 2 jobs, and then my mom started her own business, and then I guess, like, he didn't ask her about how much money she was making, and she was just stacking it away in a shoebox. And one day my dad came home and was like, I fucking hate my boss. I'm so tired of this and that. And he's like, I just want to quit. I only have a couple years left. I just want to quit. And my mom was like, here's this shoebox of money. We could quit. And he was like, where the fuck did you get this? She's like, I've just been putting it away. I'm like, you're such a guinea, Mom. Jesus. They say find a neutral time to talk about money. I guess you don't want to, like, be in the middle of the fight, be like, and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And this is to understand your partner's perspective, set rules and limits. That's Psychology Today, kind of, that's their take on it.
I personally think that people should stop, like, this. Like, I understand there's certain places you shouldn't go on a first date, but I don't think that so many dates should pass before you just pretty much, like, lay out who you are and what you want,
right,
all the way down from A to Z.
Right.
And I just feel like when it comes to money, like, and then I think, like, because I listen to, like, Curved on the radio on High 97. They call it Curved, which is, like, when somebody ghosts you and because the date didn't go well.
Right.
Or a few of the people was in relationships and never heard from the person again. But it's usually a date didn't go well for some reason. And they always tend to say, oh, you talked about that on the first date? Or you went into that on the first date? And I just feel like, especially, like, I guess when you're 23 or 24, maybe you're not going to be on a first date talking about marriage and kids and apartments and houses and mortgages and all those other things. But I feel like when you're people of a certain age, like, do you really have time to go on, like, 6 or 7 dates before you know where that person stands with, like,
right, their finances or...
Like, if I ask you, are you in debt? I don't mean, like, if I'm on a date with you, this is maybe our 3rd date, 4th date.
Are you gonna say, are you in debt? You're gonna say it like that?
Like, yeah, probably. But, like, if I ask you, like, do you have
She's like, yeah, probably.
Or everybody's in debt. Do you have a lot of debt? And by a lot, is it over 50,000?
Like, hey, do you have that app Credit Karma? Can I see it?
Right. Like, I don't expect you to give me an itemized list of who and what you owe. But, like, if you say, yeah, I have student loan debt and I have a mortgage and a car payment, I think that's fair information to have. Like, maybe not the 3rd date. But, like, let's say you decide to be, okay, let's say the beginning stages of you deciding to be in a relationship.
Right.
Then I think it's time. But, like, if you really, like, to the point where you really want to be in a relationship with this person, you want this person to meet your family, they tell you they're $100,000 in debt, $200,000, you're going to walk away?
Right.
I mean, I guess you have to have your mind ready to walk away if that's not what you're down for.
Right.
Because it's like, you know, like I said, maybe not the 3rd date. That's a little much. But these
all right, when was the first time you asked your boyfriend about finances or about what he did or how much he made or anything like that?
You know what?
Or did he volunteer that information?
I think he volunteered it. Like, I think it was just times we was just talking.
This is April on the date taking notes.
I think there was times we was just, like, generally talking.
Right.
And fortunately, we met in the summertime, so we spent a lot of time, like, outside at the park.
Right.
So I think he was just generally saying, like, but I remember at the time I met him, he was part-time, and I was like, yeah, when a full-time position come up, you should hop on that.
Right.
So, I mean, I did kind of start my somewhat controlling nature that I've just calmed down. But at the moment, I was like, yeah, you might want to hop on that full-time job. Like, you know.
Hashtag just saying.
Working 5 to 10. Nah, bruh. Like, you got a lot more time in the day. But, like, I did encourage him, like, maybe you should get, like, a full-time job.
But wait, was he only, like, 30 when you met him? 29, something like that.
28, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah, 28.
Oh, yeah,
I remember
it's
you telling
been
me, yeah, 28's, you said something like 28's kind of that.
It's a
iffy
dangerous age. It's a
yeah.
really dangerous age. Anytime somebody says 28, I'm like, they do not know. At 28, I feel like it's that age where they're like, do I still want to be a teenager and party and like play video
and
games?
That's really how I remember he was 28 because of this conversation.
I had a bad experience with Brooklyn, and I was just like, 28 is that age where you're like, girlfriend, yeah, that sounds cool. But then like when you have the girlfriend,
executing what
right, you're like,
done.
oh wait, that means I can't. I have to like really like shape my shit up. I don't know if I could do it.
Right.
No, it's like a weird age, and I would never. I just don't ever want to go back there.
Like, call me when you turn 29.
Jen said I can't talk to you till then. You're like, when's your birthday?
Jen said you're transitioning into manhood still, and I'm gonna pass on that. But yeah, I remember
Call me when you get full time and you're 29.
Right. I remember encouraging him to take the full-time position, but I remember him. He was just volunteered about having student loans and all that stuff.
And you had your own place, and he didn't at the
Right.
time. So
Right.
you obviously had to have the conversation about how much can you put in, or how much can I put in if we got a place together.
Right. And then once, like, we had that conversation like a long way down the road, but it started. I said, would you be open to, like, sometimes you don't have to ask the person, are we gonna move in together after a year? Like, are you open to living together?
Right.
After a year or so, or
right.
Are you open to home ownership? Are you open to children? Like, it's a way. Like, yeah, you're not gonna FBI interrogating these people. But, like, there's a way you can say, like, are you open to... Because sometimes people are like, dead ass, no, I don't want no children.
Right.
No, I don't want to own a home. It's too much responsibility. No. Granted, they may change their mind down the road if you're 28 or 29 or 30. But that's up to you to decide if you're going to wait and see if they change their mind, or you're like, nah, I'm going to... I mean, I remember talking to a guy from Plenty of Fish. He worked some kind of finance stuff he did on Wall Street. And I believe he was about in his late 20s, early 30s. And he was dead ass, I don't want my wife to work. She'll get an allowance, and my child is going to boarding school.
Allowance?
Yeah. He said, my child is going to boarding school to make connections.
There was no second date, right?
There was no first date. This was on the phone.
Oh, damn.
He was like, my wife will get an allowance, and I'm sending my child to boarding school so they can make connections with rich, powerful people and get ahead in life. I'm like,
gotta go.
Okay. Yeah. Like, I was like, I would not send my child away to a boarding school.
At least he cut to the chase. At least you didn't even
I
have
appreciated it because
Right.
I'm like, great. We don't even need to, because he lived in Harlem too. I'm like, we don't even need to go no further than this.
Right.
Especially if I got to cross a bridge, you got to cross the bridge. We don't need to spend any more money or time or
right.
anything on that.
Good luck with your search. Peace.
Because I'm not sitting home waiting for no allowance, and I'm not sending my child off to no damn boarding school.
Oh, my God.
You know, like.
Oh, man.
But I distinctly remember that, and he just had this whole
plan.
Yeah, and I'm like, great, this is great.
Damn.
This is my time not being wasted, and your time not being wasted. So, but I think sometimes people need to start opening up more. I'm not saying tell people your whole life, but I think people need to start opening up more on dates. Stop getting to the point where you mad and fall all crazy in love with somebody and ready to start excusing everything.
And then you're like, what? You don't have a savings account.
Never had one. Don't know what it is. What?
Do you know how to write a check?
No, probably not. Like, they're asking me for a routing number. I'm like, oh, for God's sakes. But, and these are questions, and you can't take for granted what age you're meeting this person at. Like, you can't say, oh, he's 40. He must know how to balance a checkbook. No.
No.
Not necessarily.
I didn't in my 20s. I had a whole lot of bounce checks. I had to get one of those accounts, and then they took it away from me because then I abused that. I owe TD Bank a lot of money. I can never open an account there again. But I used to just bounce checks because I was just like, it'll make it. And I just like running my card, and they just kept taking it. I don't know why. But yeah, I owe TD Bank a lot of money. But like now, luckily, like, you know, I do keep I don't know, like, do the whole, you know, put the number in to subtract, and I don't do that. But I look at my account, I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't eat out today.
Right. But there is some people who they just been in a heavy duty relationship with their parents for a very long time,
Right.
and they step out into the world and really don't know what the hell's going on. And it could be 30, 35, or 40 that's going on. So I mean, you really can't take for granted somebody's age, cause. But I just feel like people going on these dates and everything is all laughy, laughy, giggly, giggly. You need to be asking some questions.
So, what about when you go on these first dates? Like, who do you think should pay?
I think it should kind of be. I mean, I know, knowing the nature of men and women,
Mm-hmm.
that if it's a first date, the man should pay.
Right.
But I mean, I also feel like if you happen to meet somewhere where you could just get online, just buy your own stuff.
Right.
Like if you meet at a Starbucks.
Right. That's
Like,
what I did.
I'm not gonna get to Starbucks early and sit at the table waiting for you to buy my coffee. I'm gonna
Right,
get my
right,
coffee and my
right.
cookie and sit the hell down. You know what I mean? So not that like picky about paying.
Right.
But I feel like if a guy says to you, "Can I take you out to dinner?" which is usually what I mean.
That's more. That should be more second date-ish.
Right.
First date dinners are awkward.
Right. So if a guy says, "Oh, I really, this went well. I'd like to take you out," I do think he should pay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But and I just think it's because even though of course I believe in women equality, there is certain natures to each gender. Men like to hunt. Men like to
Provide and
feel. It makes them feel whatever it make y'all feel to be able to.
Fella, she's not minimizing you right now. She's just saying.
Right, but I don't know how it feels as a man.
Right.
But I guess I can imagine it makes a man feel some type of way to take the check and pay.
Yeah.
So
I remember on my first dinner date with my boyfriend, he felt the need to tell me. He was like, "Order whatever you want. I got paid today." And I'm like, "Okay."
So yesterday I couldn't order whatever. That's what that sounded like to me.
I'm like, TMI, but okay.
Right.
I'm not getting the steak and lobster, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, if he felt like uneasy about it. I should ask him.
Which I don't agree either that because a guy is paying, the woman should sit up there and order shit her ass know she on damn
Right.
or that she would never order just to be like ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I do think, I think as the dating goes on, of course people can split the check or say, "Oh, I got it this time." The woman, say, "Oh, I got it. I'll pay this time," or "You paid last time," and you can pay next time, whatever. I think a part of like being male and being female does come with certain qualities and certain things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just certain things naturally, not in a not so much in a masculine and feminine way, not so much that or that you have some things you have to stick to. But I just think in the mindset and mentality biologically of men and women, things tick and talk different.
Right.
So I do think, a man feels a certain way about paying and feeling like he's, showing a woman, "Listen, I have my own. I can take care, I'm not a guy you need to take care of or pay for." I think that's important to him. So, because women, technically, we can tell you're not a guy we got to take care of when we meet your ass. Like, you paying the check is not. Some women, if you haven't really experienced much or you haven't opened your mind up and seen what's going on, maybe you think that. But, like, women who lived a little and know what's going on, like, we know that just because you pick up a check doesn't mean you got it like that.
Right.
So, I could tell from your conversation and where you carry yourself, what's going on in your life, whether or not you actually got it or don't got it. Just because you have it tonight don't mean shit about tomorrow. So.
Right.
But if a guy feels like showing that means he's showing me something, go ahead and do it.
So this one article says, if one person makes more than the other, let's say you make $60,000 and your partner makes $40,000, you should pay 60% of the bills since you make $60,000, and he or she should pay 40%. Do you agree with that, or do you think everything should be 50-50?
I agree with it to an extent
Mm-hmm.
because the person making 60,000 might have way more debt than the person making 40.
Right.
So technically,
you have to take that
still
into
may
account.
not have enough to go into.
Right.
They still may not have enough to pay more,
Right.
just because their income is more. Like, what if the person who makes $40,000 don't have no debt? any debt? What if
Right.
they don't have any, and the person who makes 60,000 got like mad student loans and like child
I
support
guess maybe
payments?
the right thing to do would be to say, this is my, I don't know if it's net, gross, net, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is my net take home, and this is my
This is what I have to put out.
output,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I have left, and you say the same thing. This is what I
Mm-hmm.
have left, and see who has what
And just
left,
see what how you
and
can
then do
work it.
your 60/40, 20,
Right.
80, whatever the hell it is.
Because
I,
what if, okay, or sometimes you could do it like, all right, I'll pay this for 6 months, and if that credit card you have is going to be paid off in 6 months, then you could take over this bill.
right, right.
Sometimes it's just about you kind of teaming up.
Right, it's
And,
communication too,
Mhm.
and that kind of makes it easier to talk about money. I was trying to have the conversation with my boyfriend last night. I'm like, your car payment's almost done.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta get the roommate out.
Right. That's
Like,
it. Because it's like, what if somebody makes 60,000, somebody makes 40,000, but the person that makes 40,000 really doesn't have anything going out,
right,
and the person that makes 60,000, like, listen, I got child support.
right.
I got
Car payments.
That's the thing about being honest about
Right.
what you got going on, because you like, I want to live with you, I want to move in with you. But listen, I got to pay for my kid, I got to pay for my car, I got to pay for my student loans, I got to pay a few of these credit cards off. So it's almost like, yeah, in a way, you could kind of get these things in order before you move in with somebody, or if moving in with the person might possibly help you,
Right.
that's an option. But that's what you need to say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm moving in with you, but I can't pay more because I make more.
Right. Right.
You have
right.
to
right.
be honest enough to say that.
Yeah, he took his phone. He like showed me all his accounts that he owes on. He's like, I still owe on this. I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, damn, all right. I'm like, yeah, you owe a lot more debt than I have.
Mm-hmm.
But it's getting down. It's getting down. So, but that was like the first time I felt like I visually saw it, I guess.
Right.
Like he would tell me like, I have this, I have that, and in my head it's just like numbers, 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 numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, okay, whatever. And I was just like, all right, I see what's happening here.
Yeah.
But it's good to be open about it.
And I think people gotta like just sitting all day reading Brene Brown talk about shame. It's like, it's not like she says this really interesting thing. Shame is powerful because it's unspeakable. If you people keep quiet about it, that's what makes it hold so much power. And as soon as you speak it, it starts to lose its power. And if debt is shameful and making less money is shameful, and all these things, you don't say it, it's just festering.
Right.
And it's living in. There's nothing that can be done about it, because maybe somebody will, like, if somebody makes 60,000 and somebody make 40. Let's just say, for not for gender's sake, but let's just say the man makes 60 and the woman makes 40, and the man got, maybe the woman be like, you know what, like let's say they already living together, and she might say, listen, I'll pay the cable bill. I don't have nothing. I'll pay the cable and the lights. Just keep your half of that and put it towards that and pay that down.
And then when you're in a better spot,
done,
right?
Then we go back to, like, it's about, somebody can't team up with you if you don't say anything.
Right.
Like, if something is really, like, maybe I've paid something off and I got an extra $100, and you're like, all right, well, can you help me with this? Since you got a little extra for like 4 months, and then I'll take that, 50-50, or that $100 I was putting to that, that's $400 in 4 months I would save if you pay it for me. And then, like, you have to open your mouth and say something.
Right.
If you're just sitting and wallowing in it, it's not gonna. And I understand the shame of debt, and if you make less than somebody, or if you the shame people feel borrowing money from people, but it's one thing about help. If you feel some type of way taking it, it means you place some type of shame when giving it. Which you telling yourself you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart. But if you say, oh no, I don't ask for help, okay, so what did that say about the people? What do you think of the people you giving help to?
Right.
So somewhere down the line, you have to say to yourself, like, okay, I'm big enough to give help, I got to be big enough to ask for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Joint accounts. Pro or con?
I think joint accounts is cool for household.
I wish we had a joint account the other day, because we went out like 2 times and Levinti was like, I forgot my wallet. I was like, sure you did. And then like we went out yesterday. He's like, I have my wallet this time, don't worry. And I was like, this is why we need a joint account. I didn't know why we needed one before. But I was like, this way it could just come out of our money and it wouldn't have been like a big deal. I mean, it wasn't a big deal that I had to pay anyway. It was just stupid little like takeout dinner or whatever. But
we have one for household expenses that we put the rent and
That way it's easier to kind of write the
yeah.
checks and stuff.
Right. And it's like I think it's a pro as long as like I think if people are gonna have like money automatically going into it, like let's say like we're trying to get to a point where we can say, all right, we're each gonna have this amount of money go into a joint account as a savings for a house or whatever.
Right.
I just think maybe it should be an equal amount from each person.
Right.
Like let's both have what can you do 100? I can do 100. You can do 100. Okay, so we'll both have $100 every 2 weeks or whatever.
Right.
Automatically going in, like not just random amounts of money. Because unfortunately, if shit goes down,
then you just know to like divide by 2.
Right. I don't want to be going through statements looking for how much I put this month and adding it up in no calculator. That's crazy.
Right. I've thought about that before too.
12 months. For 12 months, I had $100 a month going in, and $1,200 is mine.
Right.
Like, I mean, that's just. I just think that's like a main thing. You're gonna have money in there, have an equal amount of money, or you put the same amount of money every month.
Right.
So you know what you've put in there.
Right.
But like if y'all saving up for something, you don't want it to be y'all got to be past that, but you don't want it to be okay. We want a 80-inch TV. Let's put money in the account for it. You don't want it to be later. Oh, you only paid $1,200 towards the TV, and I paid $1,900.
Right.
Like you want, I mean,
it should be fair.
If you know you're not gonna be every dollar for dollar like that, you don't know what's gonna happen.
And I think I know like I don't know. I know sometimes like people do it like when they're dating prior to getting married is because a lot of people give you checks and usually like the bride side writes the check out to the bride and then the husband side will write it out to the husband. Yeah. But I mean, on those rare occasions, you get those people who want to like write Mr. and Mrs. So and so for the first time, and then you need a place to deposit that check.
Right. Because come on, people. The girl that just got married 4 hours ago. She ain't legally changed her name yet.
Some people may not change their name, right, April?
Sure enough. You put April.
Put my whole government on there.
Government on your goddamn check.
You're like, he'll get it. Don't worry.
But it's unless you go into a ceremony, that's a ceremony, but they legally married. Maybe she has had time to change her name.
You should never put cash. Just I did that once and didn't fare well. Actually, no, that wasn't. I'd never give cash. I guess you could write cash. Never give cash. My friend's house got robbed right after her wedding. It was terrible. But it was just probably best practice, right? Your friend's name. Stay-at-home parents allowance account pension. What?
So
these are April's notes.
I have a coworker who was a stay-at-home mom for years, and Pennsylvania law says she gets 60% of ex-husband's pension.
Really?
Ex-husband's fighting a tooth and nail.
And she wants it.
And she won. She wants it. And, it's something to think about. Men are quick to say, I want to stay at home wife. Or you stay at home with the kids. Okay. But in the case of things not working out, you are responsible for that person's future.
Damn.
They stayed at home with you. They didn't go get a job where they have a 401k or pension. They didn't go get a job where they have their own health insurance. They stayed at home. So you are responsible for them. You're responsible for their future. If they had went out and got a job, they'd be responsible for their own future because they'd have a 401k or a pension. Or if
they were like super rich, let's say, and he's like, stay at home, and here's your money to go get your nails done every week and your hair done every week, and here's the money for the nanny.
Right. Like,
does he have to keep that up?
Yeah.
And for how long?
That would be up to the judge in the state you live in.
Oh, that's kind of true though, because I had a client once who got a divorce because he was like beating her and stuff, which was the craziest part. I'm sure I've told the story on the podcast, but she had to pay him like, I was over 10 grand, like an exuberant amount of money, like over X amount of time, because even though he lived with her, he wasn't working or something at the time. And that was like the lifestyle he was used to and having that kind of income. So the judge said that she had to give him to him, even though he beat her ass.
Did she have a lawyer?
Yeah. She said that's how it is in the state of New Jersey. Like, he beat her ass. Like, they had a restraining order. The kids got taken away. Then kids were going on visitation. And she's, like, terrified of him. and she still had to give him alimony for like it was a lot of money. She's like, I'm still paying out my ass. I think she was like paying $5,000 for like 4 months or something like that.
Mm.
Um,
Cause I remember my sister when my sister and her ex-husband got divorced in New Jersey, and she made a considerable amount more money than him, and she had to pay him shit.
really,
She didn't have to pay him nothing. Like he was like
but he worked though, right?
he did have a job.
Maybe that's why, because this guy didn't work for
Maybe.
whatever reason.
But she made a good. I would say like she made probably a good $20,000-$30,000 more than he did. Because she had became a nurse, so
Right.
that's when her income went up, and he was at the same job
Right.
making like $20,000 a year.
Mm.
And she paid a lot of the bills. Like she was kind of
Holding down the
putting
house.
out a lot of money, and she didn't have to pay him nothing.
Damn.
But it is, yeah. I mean, wasn't no kids involved, wasn't no house involved. But did she get to stay in the house, your friend? She got this.
Yeah, she stayed in the house. They were renting
she
it.
Kept it. Oh, they okay.
They didn't own it. They were renting
but he
it.
had to leave the house, and she got pretty much primary custody of the children.
Yeah.
They just went to visit him.
She still had to pay for like a nanny and all that other stuff and whatever. Like he wasn't paying. But I don't know why he doesn't have to pay her child support. But because he wasn't. That's why. But never mind.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't paying for them before. She was.
But then they was living together.
Yeah.
So now we ain't living together. You still got to take care of your children.
Right. I think that's just, I don't know if she was going to have to like file again after maybe. Because like technically if he was home before, he could have watched the kids.
Yeah.
But now that he's not, I don't know.
I don't know either, but
Positive vibes her way. That was a crazy ass story.
Yeah. But that's something to think about, stay-at-home parent, because some people talk about stay-at-home dads and all that stuff. He gonna continue to be a stay-at-home dad too. Y'all get divorced, and you gotta pay out all kind of money, and the same thing goes for a woman. Now, granted, I personally, and some men might find this sexist or whatever the case is. I really don't care. I personally think that women have more of a leg up when it comes to staying home, because they the one had to push or lay and have the kid taken out of them.
Right.
So screw you. She should be able to. And granted, like the first year of life, a kid breast milk and pumping and breastfeeding and all that stuff takes a toll on you.
Yeah, but your body's still like physically exhausted from carrying for those 9 months.
And all these jobs, you like everybody. I know for me, I was not about going fighting my job for somewhere for me to pump breast milk. I wasn't about fighting them on it. I really wasn't. I went to my car. Luckily for me, it was fall.
Right.
And it wasn't that cold yet. But I went to my car. I'm like, I don't have time to fight these people. I can barely get a day off. I'm supposed to fight these people for a refrigerator and a clean place to sit.
So did you have to did you bring a cooler with you to work?
Yeah.
Oh.
The bottles came with like a cooler and an ice pack, and I bring all
Jesus Christmas.
But I heard, like, I was told there were here and there, like a nurse here or a social worker there on the unit, they had a refrigerator, but that's a different department than me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe, I mean,
as a hospital, they should really do that. You should make it I mean, I know you don't want to, like, go against those people over there, but you should make it, like, a thing. Like,
right.
You should, like...
And then legally, they have to.
Right.
It's just the prolonging and the emailing, and did it happen yet? Did you talk to this one yet? Did you...
Start a petition.
Yeah. Listen to this. But it's like... They're going to tell you that
Hazel's going to be like, is your job hiring? I got fired.
Right. Like, they're going to tell you they're going to do it. Because legally they have to. They can't tell you no. Legally they have to do it.
When I went to the new offices at United Healthcare, they were like, oh, that's a breast pumping room or a breastfeeding room.
Life would be easier just to have it already.
Right.
Yeah, already set
I was
up.
like, it's a closet, but okay.
Right. Like, because my mother said there was a unit and there was a refrigerator and there was a sign that says for so-and-so only.
Right.
So, they know the law. So
crazy ass client and they're like, ooh, breast milk.
Right. But the people who had these refrigerators also had offices.
Right.
So things might be a little easier for
Shit,
them.
if I was a social worker on that unit, I swear to God, I'd like go buy my own little small refrigerator, keep it in my office, and send like a memo out to the pregnant women and be like, if you need to pump once you deliver, please privately email me and we will set up a time for you to use my office and my refrigerator.
15 minutes.
Right. I don't know how long it takes. Could take longer, maybe.
About 15 minutes, though.
And you just get one bottle?
You could get two, depending on who you are. You got one on one boob, one on the other boob, and they come on out.
Oh my God.
15 to 20 minutes for you to like empty it out, like
But then, like, you're
every
just
4 or 5 hours.
you're tired after.
Probably a little bit. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Every 4 or 5 hours though. So, but I mean, they're gonna tell you they're gonna do it because it's illegal. They can't tell
Man,
you
somebody
no,
needs to start a petition over there.
But I don't know if they've ever told anybody no because I didn't ask. I didn't bother. I just know how they roll with other stuff.
But that's something that you make an announcement about. That's like something that's like in your welcome fucking package.
Like it should be something people are comfortable enough to go to there.
Right.
But I didn't say anything at all, so I don't know.
Next time you get into the room with one of those
but I would
women,
recommend a woman like and with me the pumping the breast pump thing and stuff. I didn't have that much milk where I needed to be every 4 hours,
right?
Like and having pump breaks and I didn't have that type.
Can you pump in traffic?
I guess it might be indecent exposure because they're saying you can breastfeed in public now, but without being thrown out. But like I wouldn't. But like if you are the type of woman that like every 4 hours you need a pump break, then you're not going to your car every 4 hours.
Right.
I was the type I could just go on my lunch break and get a little small bottle out of it.
Right.
If you're the type of woman that's filling up bottles and every 4 hours you have to, that's a different story. Like I would recommend that woman like I need a room. I need a clean room somewhere.
Right, clean room too, not the fucking janitor closet. God damn it.
Because some women have been relegated to that.
Damn.
Yeah, hope that's the right word. I don't know, it's just flowed out. But like I would recommend if you really got to pump every 4 hours, I would recommend a woman absolutely saying getting their job on it. But I was just so nonchalant about it. But
so I'm going through your list here. I know we sidetracked a little bit. That was an important topic though. Damn it.
Right, but that was the whole stay-at-home parent thing.
Right.
Right. Okay. And like taking basically you have to like take into account that person's future is kind of in your hands. If they don't have any job, any benefits, any retirement accounts, any of those things. So.
People getting divorced due to medical situations and not qualifying for public assistance or Medicaid.
I saw a couple stories about people like with really sick kids, and due to them being a family of whatever, they just use the dads, like the mom's at home with the sick kid, and the kid has a lot of medical bills,
right?
And they don't qualify for Medicaid because of the dad's income,
right?
If they got divorced and the mother was single with just her. No income or very low income, they will qualify for Medicaid instead of them having with private insurance. You got deductibles, and
right. That's true. I've been in those situations with some families,
right? And to have a really really sick kid with lots of expensive medications and all these things.
Like, bye, babe.
I've been right.
You can stay here, but.
Right, where people, they don't want to get divorced.
Right.
But, like, for benefit purposes, they're like, well, if we divorce, she could get Medicaid. Medicaid's going to cover these things 100%, possibly.
Right.
You never know. Medicaid might be denying you some stuff. But it would help with the bills. So, you know, if you're already not married, I put this on the list for people to consider the fact if you're not married and you have a lot of things going on, you have to consider staying not married.
Right.
In order to, if you need these things for your medical situation,
right,
your child's
right.
medical situation, it's like if let's say you're a single mom, you have a child, you meet a guy, y'all fall in love, you want to get married. Okay, but now that guy's income is, unless your child has a kid taking care of him, but now his income is mom's income.
Right.
It's counted on the mom. And
so instead of maybe like a $30,000 household income, you're now like an $80,000 or $90,000 household income, and you're just like, oh, we don't qualify for shit now.
And the income levels are very low for these families. Like, you know,
can't make like more than $2,000 a month for Medicaid.
Yeah. So that's something to consider when it comes to like money and finances. Is also like the benefits, like, you know, when you're in a relationship, you have to consider that home ownership. That's also another.
Hoarding and unnecessary buying. I've had that conversation a couple times in this house.
Right. It's like sometimes, it's like, Jesus Christ, you have 500 Beanie Babies, but you don't have a down payment on a home. Like, like sometimes, this lady just told me her whole life story at my desk the other day, and she
You're
talked
like, this is
about.
going on the podcast.
Yep, that's exact. I went right to this Google Doc and was like, hoarding. she, she talked about her husband, the money he spends on his little crafts and all these things that doesn't make them any money.
Right.
And she was like, it's all this stuff. It's all this stuff in the basement. It's all these things. And I think I mentioned something to her, and she just went off with it. But she was like, he buys all these things, and yet he tells me we don't have money for this and we don't have money for that.
Right,
But
right,
he
right.
finds money for his little whatever, paper planes, whatever, airplanes, whatever she was talking about. She kind of lost me. But something of that nature. Paper, toy train, toy plane, model stuff.
Model cars and shit like that.
Stuff like that. I think it was all kind of little things that he collects or whatever. But she said, we have a house full of these things. Oh, she saw Kai's picture. And she said, I'm going to bring your son. I'm like, lady. And I said to her, I appreciate it, but I don't have no room. And I thought about it. I said, that shit worth money. I shouldn't have said nothing. But I'm like, and I said, okay. And I said, but you know what? We don't have room in our house for no more stuff.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about bringing me? Is it big? Because I'm like, we don't. I said, that's actually part of our problem, too. Our closets is full, everything. We have to move because, we don't have room for, I try not to buy him any toys. We don't have room for a lot of things. And that's when she started talking about her husband hoarding. He spends a lot of money. He has a storage unit that's hundreds of dollars a month in storage.
Damn.
But the first thing out of it, she was like, I used to travel. I want to go on vacation. She was like, I want to, what do you
I
call
wonder if she knew that before, though,
I don't know.
Or some people, get into it as they get older.
They've been together forever. What do you call when you remarry? Remarrying part. Renew your vows.
Renew your vows,
I
yeah.
Renew our vows. I'm like, you sure? She started laughing. I'm like, you sure? Because he sounded like he putting you through some shit. But she was like, I want to renew our vows. I want to travel. I want to go to all these places. And we can't because he buying all this stuff. So
she should try to compromise with him. Like, instead of buying one thing every week, maybe every other week. And then that week we could put that money in an account.
Right. Yeah. So that was something, when she was talking, hoarding, unnecessary, excessive buying, or just buying stuff. Maybe you don't hoard, but you buy things you don't need. Like we all have to stick this in our minds. Like, you cannot complain about money when you're constantly buying things you don't need. Because I know one time I saved a lot of money when I said to them, I'm not going to buy anything I don't need. I saved mad money. And I don't know what happened. I can't go back to it. I've had a hard time getting back to that point.
Right.
But it's like, that's really what you have to do. You have to stop buying things you don't need. I don't need new towels. I just told myself that. Towels we have is fine. I don't
But
need
bath sheets are $9.99 at Costco, April. And they're so soft.
It is like I don't need a new pocketbook. I just like bags, and I tell myself I need a new pocketbook. I don't. The pocketbooks I have will carry my stuff. And I'm like, I'm gonna go in the closet and get a pocketbook I haven't used in a long time and
switch it out so you feel better.
Switch my mind into
right.
that I need a new. But these are things. It's like, if you really think about the money you save, if you just say I'm only gonna buy what's necessary. And maybe a small amount of money to some kind of recreational,
right?
Like one restaurant a month, one movie a month. That's it,
right?
Until you get to a point where you can't say, "Oh, I like this scarf. Oh, I like this. I'm gonna buy it." Oh,
right?
You get to that point, but if you're not at it right now, you can only complain but so much about not having money when you clearly are just buying shit just to be buying it.
I see you have when they support their parents.
Yeah,
sometimes that's a cultural thing too. Like, I know
people sending money home.
Sending money home.
To the country, right?
This lady, I did an intake on her the other day, and the guy was translating in Gujarati. It's like an Indian dialect. He was saying that she's very stressed out because her daughter-in-law is horrible to her, and she's like, she fights with the son all the time over the mother. I'm like, but this is part of the culture. Like, this is what unless you're not Indian and you didn't know you were signing up for this. Like, the lovely Indian couple across the street, the grandma's there all the time taking care of my little baby. She's my baby. She's so cute. But this is part of the culture. Like, this is what it is, and sometimes it is part of the culture. Sometimes it's not. But I mean,
that's why they like sons,
right? But it's part of life.
Part of the culture. Yeah.
And it's also like,
Mhm.
I guess like it depends. Like, I don't know. My boyfriend said the other day, he was like, I wish I could buy my mom a house. And I was like, what?
You wish you could buy yourself a
And I
house
was
first
like,
to have your mother come live with
that's
you.
what I'm saying. I was like, well,
That would be more fiscally
I'm
sound.
okay with us buying a house big enough for your mom to come with us.
Mhm.
And he's like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, and he's like, this is just like a thought in my head. I'm not like saying I'm going to do it. I'm like, because it's
But have
impossible.
realistic thoughts.
Right.
That's what we need to be. We need to be thoughts that, like, it's a good thought, but it's not realistic. Like, very few people can afford to just put their parents in a house and they go in another house. Very few people.
My
can afford
therapist is
that.
like, does your boyfriend live in like this like fantasy world? I was like, yes, he does.
I'm glad you peeped that.
I'm like, how do we get him out?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, apparently his gay ass therapist ain't helping. He's just like, yes, do that. Yes, do this. It's so crazy.
But yeah, it's like, a lot of people like. My thing is, if I meet you, since we talking about people dating relationships, if I meet you and we're serious, and I find out you make $2,500 a month and you send 1,000 of it to another country,
Right.
yeah, we gonna have to discuss.
Right.
And some people, it's like a duty. It's like they call it a black tax, and it's like you made it, so you gotta come back.
Right.
Even in America, people do it. You made it, so you gotta come back to the hood, to the
Right.
neighborhood, to the wherever. And help everybody else.
Mm.
It's like MC Hammer having 300 people on his payroll.
Right.
So,
That's why he went bankrupt.
Mm-hmm. It's like he got caught up in that black tax. Like, you got out, so you got to come back.
That's why he's doing staple commercials or whatever.
You got to come back for everybody. And it's like, that's what that is. Like, people in these other countries feel like you're in America, you got money. If you don't send money back home, you've abandoned us.
Right. That's not fair.
So, like, people really don't. There's people sending hundreds of dollars. There's people, I've met people, old co-workers, working 80, 90, 100 hours a week so they can, like, literally pay their parents' rent back home.
That was like the people we met on the cruise. That guy was saying how he sent all his money back to his country.
Right. Yep. Like, I knew a lady, she would send $1,000 every 3 months.
And I think that's respectable, but I think like if you're trying to build a family of your own when it comes to relationships, that needs to be reassessed.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's where the communication part comes in, and you guys are like, okay,
especially when you
how do we do this?
Have it. You don't have it.
Right.
Like, you're literally, it's people literally struggling, and they're sending hundreds and I know that money goes a long way back in your country, but
Like, how many siblings do you have? Maybe everybody can get in on this.
Right. But it's like, that's something that you have to consider when you dating somebody. If they're in that situation, we kind of discussed living. Like, we didn't get into living beyond means, but sometimes there's people that they got a Corolla job and they want to drive a Mercedes.
Right.
And it's like, or, they got, Marshall's money, but they up in, the Italian leather store trying to get loafers and suits.
Right.
I understand wanting nice things. Everybody, like, I don't like when people say I have expensive taste. Everybody has expensive taste. Everybody would be in a G5 truck if we could. Everybody would be, well, not a G5 truck. People may not like the boxiness. I personally like it. Not the point. Point is, everybody, we would all be in some form of luxury.
Right.
Range Rover, Mercedes, G5, Lexus, whatever. We would all be in some form of luxury.
But I am the used Audi down the street.
Right. Like, like, everybody has expensive taste. I don't want to hear that. Like, that's not an excuse. We all do. Like, everybody likes something expensive.
Right.
You might not have expensive taste when it comes to furniture. You may not give a shit if the furniture from Goodwill or whatever, as long as you got a couch. But then you might like $400 shoes.
Or there's girls who always like to get their hair done and their nails done. But, sometimes, like, you just got to go to Walgreens, get the nail polish remover, the file, and make it happen yourself. Because...
especially when you complain about not having money.
Right.
Or you're trying to get somewhere, but you're not doing anything to get there because you're spending all your money on these things that you could scale down a bit. And, so, yeah, living beyond means, as they say, keeping up with the Joneses. That's something like when you meet somebody.
We need a big screen TV.
Yeah, right. When you meet somebody, that's something you got to consider. Like, are these things more important to you than budgeting and getting where you need to go?
Right.
getting to a goal. Are these things more
And at the
important?
end of the day, I think this all comes down to communication. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have the conversation about what you make, what you put in, what you put out.
Mm-hmm.
How do we build this together? And then it kind of comes to like, okay, you maybe don't need all those things, or maybe I
Mm-hmm.
don't need all these things, or, you know,
And this is kind of if you already in the relationship.
right,
At the beginning, you got to be willing to take the answer and walk or stay and persuade.
right.
And you may not get staying and persuade. You may not get the result you want. You take the answer and walk. You are going to get the result you want. You're
Because
going to be
I don't
somewhere else,
care
dating
how
somewhere else.
beautiful she is, or how hot and fine he is, or how big his muscles are. Like, nobody wants to support or, like, money train someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not to the degree of, like, you know, your boyfriend's like, oh, I can't make the car payment this week. Do you have it? What? Like, maybe you shouldn't have got the car.
Right.
Well, I got you now, right? Like,
I can see if something happens, laid off
right,
or disability, got hurt on the job, out getting disability is only 60% of the pay, need a little assistance. But it's like if you meet somebody and they are clearly into
struggling.
like doing it for the gram, like you are clearly like setting yourself up for disappointment if you think that person is gonna magically say, you know what, I'm materialistic. I'm not gonna buy these things anymore.
Right.
I can't afford it. That may or may not happen. So the result that you know for sure is when you walk away and you're like, I'm walking away with my money and my common sense and my financial strategy, same way I walked up to you, I'm walking back. You stay and persuade, hey, it could go either way. They could see the light or they could not. So you have to decide.
But definitely have the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Couples who compete. I thought about that. I know a couple.
Mm-hmm.
If the woman will go out and she'll say, she'll go to the dealership, say, I want a Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll get the Mercedes and she'll, or at least, and then she'll come home with the car. The car is nice and shiny and pretty. And then the boyfriend will say, well, you got a new car. I'm getting a new car.
What?
So he'll go get a Lexus, nice shiny Lexus. So now, well, you can't have a new car. I don't have one. So
Like, your shit's 2 weeks old.
Now y'all both
Broke.
right. And I was at a wedding recently, and the pastor's doing the ceremony, and he goes, when couples compete against each other, you both lose.
Mm.
And me and John were talking about. I mentioned we're talking about the ceremony, and I mentioned when the pastor said that, I was like, he was absolutely right when you really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I thought about those two, and I was like, you're right. I didn't think about them, but you're absolutely right. That's two people being in competition with each other. A lot of men will say, you know what? I'll drive this hoop ride so my wife can have that new Toyota Camry
Right.
and get the kids where they need to go because she's the general taxier.
Right.
So, but like when and then you are both winning because that's one car payment.
Right.
And so if something go down, well, we just got the one car payment, not two. So I'll pay for my wife to have the new minivan to track the kids around. I'll drive this empty. Then when her minivan is paid, then I'll go get me something. But when, you can't have new and I don't have new. You can't have that and I don't have that. Okay, so now y'all both broke. Y'all both got car payments and neither one of you can help the other one. But it's like if you go out and get a fur coat and then, your boyfriend comes home and say, well, you got a fur coat. I need a fur coat. So now that's two bills. Unless you pay cash for the fur coat, but most likely those people use credit. But let's say you get a fur coat. Now y'all both got a fur coat. Okay. Now where you going? Where you going to get fur coat?
Having for dinner?
Because now you got to work. Now you got to work late to pay for the goddamn fur coat, so you can't go nowhere. So couples competing against each other, that just causes more bills and more of neither one of you can help the other one because you're both trying to outdo each other, and you're both gonna end up in the gutter somewhere, basically, because neither one of you can help the other one.
Mm-mm.
So that's crazy. But yeah, when you compete with each other, you both lose.
And that's a takeaway from today's podcast.
Yes. And last but not least, child support.
Mm.
Another couple associates. Homeboy has 4 kids, 3 baby mothers.
Damn.
and they're engaged. Let me tell y'all something, ladies. These men with all these kids and all this child support, you marry his ass, and he, for some reason, doesn't work anymore. Guess who taking care of those children? Those kids don't have to have an ounce of your DNA, an ounce of your blood. It might go by state. You might be in a state where it doesn't matter. Good for you. But in the state of New Jersey, I've heard firsthand from more than one wife. In the state of New Jersey, if your man ain't working and that child support ain't being paid, your check is the next step. It's coming out of your check.
That sucks.
It doesn't have to be your children. It doesn't matter. It's paying. Whitney Houston was paying Bobby Brown child support all those years to keep him out of jail. And technically, people thought Whitney was being dumb paying it. Technically, Whitney didn't have no choice. She was his wife. She had to. So people was like, Whitney paying for all Bobby's kids. Whitney had to pay for all Bobby's kids. Whitney was the one with the money.
Well, if not, then it was coming out of her check anyway.
It was going to be garnished somehow. So, you know, I understand you love old boy, but you got to love them kids too, because you're going to be taking care of them if for some reason. And it could just not be because the person chooses not to work. Things happen. People get laid off. People get, into accidents at work or whatever and have, possibly have workers' comp, possibly not. Like, you don't know if you're going to be getting a check or not. You don't know what could happen. The child support's not getting paid. You have to pay it. So when homeboy got 3-4 different and that's also a hindrance to you all's goals.
Right.
Homeboy got $1,800 coming out of his income every month. It's
not even like if he makes more, he'll have more. Like if he makes more, they take more.
Right. There's more income coming out unless the mother make more and it keeps balancing out.
I forget where it was.
If mom's got
I think this guy put up this thing the other day about he works in like a youth thing in Patterson, and he put up like someone's pay stub on his door of his office, and it was like made $1,000, taxes took $200, child support took $450, and you're going home with like less than $300.
I saw a check.
Think about that next time you don't want to wrap up.
Somebody showed me a picture of a pay stub. 3 kids. It said, like, gross, net, total, whatever. Total, taxes, child support, $189.
Damn.
80-hour check.
Damn.
80 hours. $189.
Oh, my God.
That thing said child support. I said, Lord, have mercy.
And yes, you do have to take care of your children. Like,
right.
No one's saying not to, but these
you
are
might could have got away with giving mom a little bit less.
Right.
Y'all could have tried to
communicate and
a little, yeah. But I mean, you didn't learn after the first one. You didn't learn after the second one. You didn't learn after the third one.
Jesus.
Hey, all I can say is, if you on that Sierra shit and that Cardi B shit and want to be baby mama number 5, just know.
Right.
You going to be the mama, all right. just know that. But look up the laws in your state where you go marrying all these people with all these kids and baby mothers, because, and I'm sorry, but not to bring gender into it, but ladies, you will have a much harder time being a woman with 4 different baby daddies. Trust me, your ass gonna have a harder time than a man. So, because the kids are living with you also.
Possibly. Anything else? Anything?
That was it. Just try to learn from all our crazy talking and life lessons about money and relationships. Talk, ask questions.
Yeah, I mean,
assume anything.
And if you need help, and you should talk to your partner and ask your partner for help, or vice versa. Or you got to learn to work as a team. I mean, it doesn't always have to be 50-50, and you'll know. You should know by the first or third, not the third or fourth date that they'll be able to facilitate something for you or not, or vice versa. Or you're gonna be able to work as a team. I think my friend told me a story when she went on a first date. That he took her out for Valentine's Day, and he was like, they got some drinks like beforehand or something. I think Heather told on the podcast, and the guy was like, Oh, do you have some money? Because I spent some money on the drinks before, so I don't have money now for like the date.
Mm.
I was like, that would have been like, there was the last date, but I was like, that would have been it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I would have had, which it has been said to me before, and I had a lot of respect for somebody. Like, listen, I had to pay out a lot of bills this week. Can we go next week? Because I don't have no money. And then it's my choice to say, I got it.
Right.
Don't worry about it. I'll pay for you when we get there. But it could just be that I don't expect you to pay for me. I expect you to pay for yourself.
Right.
That could be the situation. Mm-hmm. So it's not that you got to go pay for me. You could pay, you could pay for yourself. I pay for myself. But I respect somebody more like, listen, I don't really have no extra money this week to go out. Do you want to, chill at the park, or do you want to,
right?
Or do you want to go out next week and then I'll be better off because I had to pay some bills. I respect somebody that's broke from paying bills.
Right.
I don't want you to be broke from paying bills your whole life, but I have respect for you if you broke from paying bills. That means
like, I had to cop this weed real quick, so I don't know. Like, bye.
Right. It's like, at least you showing me you paid your damn bills.
Right.
So I'm good with that. So it's more respect than for you to get there and say you don't have the money, which has happened to me, which I never spoke to him again. Because you could have just said to me, I can't go to the movies this week. I don't have any money. And like, so it's like you can't have so much pride that you make things worse.
Right.
Like, just flip it and just say what it is. Like, if somebody don't like you because you being honest, maybe the person ain't for you.
Right.
Like, if somebody think you like a sucker because you like, I don't have no money, maybe the person ain't for you because they probably ain't got none either. So, like, maybe you should be glad that the person's showing you who they are. Don't let pride get you out here in further debt.
Preach. I don't know. Do you have anything else or no?
That's it.
That's all I really have too. Hopefully next week we'll have a guest. If she writes back, we will know. But if you have any other topics that you want to explore, or you have any other questions you want to ask, we put up posts about we're here for advice. You want our unsolicited, or I guess it would be solicited at that point. But if you want some solicited advice, with a little bit of our flavor on top, write to us at bedlovebeyond@gmail.com. You could text or call us at 201-862-8-BED. Apparently someone missed a doctor's appointment. That's the only message I got. And thank you for listening to us on Podbean, iTunes, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. And please rate, review, and like and subscribe to us on any device that you do listen to. You can write to us at Gmail, and we're at bedlovebeyond.com. And at bedlovebeyond on all social media. And April is at Miss April Speaks on Instagram and Twitter. And / Miss April Speaks on Facebook and on WordPress. So we will see you next week, and we will tell you all about the Sex Expo. Peace. Peace.